Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management, Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo! Woo for Jakey.
Woo.
Welcome into Banger Management, the fantasy hockey podcast with Josh and Kevin, and our third co-host Jakey is still missing. He is finding his way from Japan back to Montreal.
Yeah,
But,
he's checking his way back.
Yeah, just taking a little longer than expected, I guess. But no, he'll be back he'll be back in a few days. So everybody that misses him, you'll see him pretty soon. And in the meantime, you have to still settle for just Josh and I, and hopefully you're happy with that. Because today we're covering the Week 13 waiver wire targets and streamers. And we're going to have a lot of spicy names because, listen, we only talk about spicy names.
But the spice levels are off the charts.
Spice levels off the charts. But before we get into it, just want to wish everybody had happy holidays. We're recording this shortly after Christmas. So I hope everybody had a good Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you had happy holidays for whatever you celebrate. Just, quality time with family and friends and loved ones. And I know that I still have to catch up on sleep. I feel like I have to not catch up on food, like whatever the opposite of that is.
Yeah.
And yeah. What did you guys do that was fun?
We closed on our first house. I mean, not holiday related, but the day after Christmas, we bought a house. So that's pretty exciting stuff.
Everybody here who's listening, if you're very nice, Santa puts you on the nice list, and then you get a house.
Yep, that is how that works. I guess I've been really nice this year. So
no, you've been very nice,
yeah.
And all the viewers have said so. So not surprising, but congrats.
Yeah, so that's super exciting. It's also exciting for all our fans because now we're closer to having Kevin and Jakey come visit me for more in-person podcast sessions. Maybe we do an all-night sesh or something crazy. Let's see. We'll see what we can come up with. Yeah. So it's a win for everyone.
and first week of
Once
January,
I can get furniture.
Josh is gonna be in Montreal visiting.
Yeah.
So before he moves into the new house, so we're gonna have some in-person content. We're gonna have to plan some stuff and maybe
we had to do something fun. Yeah.
Something fun. We've never. I was gonna say we haven't recorded in person, the three of us, since we started YouTube and stuff. So
that's crazy. Yeah, we've never done an in-person video.
We'll have to figure out how to do the in-person video for all three of us.
Yeah, actually.
Get a camera.
Maybe we
get
do
a
our
tripod.
first ever live episode or something.
Ooh, that could be really fun.
That could be something to throw out there. We'll see if people are interested. Then let us know in the Discord or in the comments anywhere, and we can make this happen.
That would be really fun. Listen, so many ideas, but if you guys have ideas, let us know. And yeah, YouTube comments in the Discord, shoot us a message. And we got a little over a week to prepare, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, we could do it.
We can do it.
All right.
But
should we,
yeah, right before we get into it, just to remind everybody, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever, click that follow button for the Banger Management Podcast. And listen, if you like what you hear, rate us 5 stars. It means a lot to us. It's the holiday season. It's all about giving. So that would be really fun. And if you're watching on YouTube, listen, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. If there's one other thing that I forgot to mention, do that too. And the best place to be during the holiday season is the Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Discord. So if you're not already in there, join the community. It's a lot of fun. We're literally every day talking trades, start sits, roster construction, dynasty leagues, keeper leagues, all that good stuff. So join the fun.
And we're making friends for life.
Making friends for life. We had the Banger Management League. People were so hyped about playing in the league together in the middle of the season. They just literally did a draft a week ago.
Yeah.
And
it's
they're
awesome.
off and running. So
and they're running the same settings that we use in our league of record. So now this podcast is even more tailored for them because they have exactly the same settings.
It's fun.
So no, it's fun stuff happening in the Discord all the time. Lots of nice holiday messages going around. Yeah. So definitely get in there. It's a great place to be.
We talked about starting Banger Management leagues for next year, but they just got too excited. They were like, "We want one this year, so we're gonna make one."
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
I love it.
All right. That all that is done, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the Week 13 waiver wire targets.
I can't have any more meat and potatoes, please.
Wait, are you a turkey guy or a ham guy or what are you?
Definitely not a ham guy.
Yeah, okay, fair.
No, I mean we have everything.
Okay.
It's with my wife's family. So like the Christmas Eve we go to her uncle's house and he has a massive buffet, and then the Christmas Day her parents host and there's a massive buffet. And
There's always a massive buffet
let's
everywhere.
just say I don't go to bed hungry.
Yeah, fair enough. I saw in the Discord Kara posted her she made like a roasted turkey for Christmas and it looked amazing. I can't say
Well,
that,
bleep.
but yeah, bleep, bleep and amazing. I love all meat. I'm a meat kind of guy, but ham is where my heart
Okay.
lies.
On that note, let's dive into our Week 12 choices. All right, this was not our best, I'll say. I still think that some of the guys we recommend, like all the guys we recommended here, have season long hold, but season long hold guys don't have every week an amazing week.
Off weeks happen.
Let's get into it. Yeah. So first we had Ryan O'Reilly, big win actually. 3 games played, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. Nashville's just on fire. O'Reilly's on fire. He's over a point per game on the past month. Still under 40% owned, so spoiler alert, you're going to hear him again on our list this week. But this was a huge win for us. Then we had Josh Norris. This guy, somehow, while being a point per game on the season, he finds a way to always disappoint us when we mention him on the pod. It's crazy. He doesn't disappoint you if he's on your team, but on the pod, he just knows when he's one of the top 3 of the week and doesn't show up or gets injured. So 3 games played, 1 goal, 0 assists, 1 point. We're counting that as an L. And then we had Elias Lindholm, similar vein as Norris, where we still love them as season-long holds, but didn't have this best week. 3 games played, only 1 assist. I will say, though, one of his games, 7 shots on goal. In total, 10 shots in those 3 games. For Elias Lindholm, that's insane because he averages less than 2 shots a game. So if your league has points for shots, if your league has a shots category, and this came out of nowhere and helped you, we're still going to count it as an L because we're keeping ourselves honest, but I don't think it was that bad of a week to own Elias Lindholm. So that brings us to 21-9 on the season. Still liking where we're at, but let's pick it up for this week so that we get back more in the win column. And let's dive into another interesting week. This is like the inverse of the holiday week where every team plays a ton of games.
Yep.
So there are no 2-game teams this week. No one you have to drop. For 4-game teams, first of all, there's a 5-game team, and that is Carolina. So the classic Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And then there's a bunch of 4-game teams, so I'm not going to mention all of them. The busy nights are interesting this week. Instead of the regular Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we've got Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. And then there's a bunch of teams that play on 2 off nights, so not going to go through all of those. But there's a lot of potential here for streaming with so many teams playing so many games. So let's dive into our top 10 points guys under 40% owned, as always. Kevin, start us off with...
I was just saying a little preface, little proface.
Yep.
Like Josh just mentioned, all these guys are less than 40% owned. So I would say these guys are going to be relevant for your deeper leagues. Anything deeper league is like 12 is a minimum, 12-team league, 14-team league for sure. But if you're in a 10-team league or an 8-team league or your starting lineup is pretty shallow where you're only starting like 1 or 2 of every position, there might be guys on your waiver wire that are better than the names that we're about to list. So just do your due diligence. Like just because we list a guy that's like 5% owned that has a really good upside this week doesn't mean there's not like a guy that's like 57% owned or like 43% owned on your waiver wire that we wouldn't want more than that. So just do your due diligence. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the Discord. We're happy to answer them. But these are our top 10 names for guys that are less than 40% owned that are shoe-in to get you points this week. And we're going to start off with number 10.
At number 10, we just mentioned that he burnt us every time we put him in the top 3, so now he's not going to burn us because we put him at number 10, and that is Josh Norris of the Buffalo Sabres, currently line 2, power play 1, only 3 games this week. But look, this guy's point per game over the season. We know the sample size is small because he was out for a lot of it, but this is a guy that I'm just happy to have on my team in a deeper league for the rest of the season, so feels, as long as he's under 40%, feels hard not to mention him.
Yeah, listen, we keep mentioning him. You just have to check the ceiling with Josh Norris and not get too ahead of yourself, like I tend to do sometimes. But
wow.
his deployment is just, this is line 2 PP1. We wish he was playing with Tage. I feel like that's like the next level for even better deployment and production. But even line 2, like it's just he's getting good minutes. And he's a goal scorer, guys. Like his shooting percentage is 24% right now on the season, which is pretty high. And the power play is clicking. Buffalo's on a roll. They're winning games. They once again beat the Ottawa Senators, who have yet to beat them since the Josh Norris Dylan Cousins swap. They played 3 times, and the Senators have lost all 3 games. Even though I feel like Norris has only played maybe 1 of those games.
Yeah.
So either way, I think Buffalo is kind of on the up and up. Like this is becoming a little bit of a wagon right now. So you kind of want pieces attached to this. And I think Josh Norris is an easy entry point, especially given you can stream him this week.
Yeah. I will say that with Buffalo, like it feels like they do this every year,
Yeah.
They always go on some crazy win streak of like 10 games or something, and then for some reason the wheels just fall off and they miss the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Look,
But
we're all
the difference
I
is
think we're
the
at the
division
point.
is not usually this bad though.
That's true. There's a lot more space. The whole conference,
Yeah.
right? There's just from top to bottom, there's like a difference in like 5 points, something crazy like that. So there's definitely a lot of space to be made for any team that wants to go on a run and take a spot in the playoffs. And they fired the GM. They're looking like maybe they'll actually make some good moves.
Yep.
We'll see. Gonna give him the benefit of the doubt until he screws up. So no, it could be a fun time in Buffalo, but just keep in mind this has happened before.
Yeah. And just something to know with Josh Norris though is that last year he's always kind of had the reputation of being a guy that like, has a high point ceiling because he's a good goal scorer. And also hits those banger categories. But this season he's not really hitting the banger categories. I feel like he's just has so much injury history that he's just trying to not lay the body down that much because in the past he's been averaging like 2.4 hits a game. This season he's not
Yeah.
even averaging 1 hit a game. So I don't know if that like is something that develops throughout the season or if it's just kind of like not part of his game anymore. I'm leaning more that side, but that doesn't change the fact that like he's still a valuable player for fantasy.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to
Number 9.
At number 9, we have Anthony Mantha of the Pittsburgh Penguins, line 2, power play 1, 4-game week this week. Main reason he's on this list is because he's power play 1 on Pittsburgh, who's currently a top 5 power play in the league. Look, Mantha's not the best player on that power play unit. He's the worst one. And the second Evgeny Malkin comes back, he gets bumped off and he loses all value. But look, you have a 4-game week and you can grab a guy on one of the top 5 power plays in the league. I think it's an easy stream to pull off.
Yeah, literally, it's all about the PP1 exposure. So if by the time you're listening to this, for some reason he's not on power play 1 anymore, I'm not interested anymore at all.
Yeah.
But given he's still there and Malkin is still out, like he has the upside. And his minutes fluctuate a lot. Like he's been on PP1 ever since the Malkin injury, but like some games he's playing 19 minutes, some games he plays 14 minutes. So still a lot of volatility there, but it doesn't change the fact that like he can have multi-point games very easily. So interested, third ranked power play in the league right now, 4-game week. There's a lot of things to like.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to
Number 8.
At number 8, we have Chandler Stevenson of the Seattle Kraken, a line 1, power play 1 center for this team. 3-game week. I know they're not the most exciting team offensively, defensively, in any way, but what Stevenson's been doing is just notable. You kind of have to, shout out a guy who's playing like that and has that deployment, even if it's on an unexciting team. So I like him as a stream, especially if you're in a face-off win league. He's great at face-offs, so you have that kind of floor of getting good face-offs regardless of if the points keep coming. But there's another guy on this list coming up who's also on his line, and the two of them together have been kind of popping off lately, so I won't spoil it, but it's definitely an interesting pickup.
Yeah, won't go too further in depth here, but like even on teams like Seattle where it feels like everything's doom and gloom all the time and they have no offensive capabilities, lines get hot. And when lines get hot, we want pieces of it. And this is a line that everybody's kind of like easily accessible. You're getting access to a power play 1 off waivers, which is always what you're looking to do.
Yeah, and they have 4 games the week after this, so if he has a solid week, you just hold on to him for another week.
Yep.
Okay.
At number 7.
We've got Matt Zuccarello of the Minnesota Wild, line 1, power play 1, 4-game week. I had a lot of options this week on who to I knew I was going to put someone from Minnesota, and there's other guys who have been hotter than Zuccarello in the past few weeks. There's, you've got Marcus Johansson's been hot. Tarasenko's been hot. They've had, Ryan Hartman's been hot. But at the end of the day, you got to go with who has the best deployment, and that is Zuccarello. And I just believe in that the deployment is a better indicator of future success than past successes.
Yep.
So for that reason, I would go Zuccarello over any of those other wild guys if you have the choice. And 4-game week, so it's an easy. He should get you some good points.
He's playing 18 minutes a night. He has exposure to Kaprizov, Boldy. So you're getting a guy that's playing with the best players on this team, and that's why you kind of want him over like a Johansson or a Hartman. Like Josh just said, they have an exceptional power play right now. Quinn Hughes, I feel like, is settling in still. I think Zuccarello could be a great pick, and he is, I would say, a little bit more one-dimensional, where you're not really getting a lot of category coverage, but the points upside is really there, and that's what you kind of want with this. His shooting percentage is also like super low.
Yeah.
So he's still shooting only 6%, so he's due for some goals, guys, is pretty much what that means.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one with
Number 6.
at number 6, another one of our friends who let us down last week, but we're coming back for more. We've got Elias Lindholm of the Boston Bruins, still line 1, power play 1, only 3-game week this week, but 4 games the week after that. And this is just similar to Josh Norris, where like what he's been doing season long is just too impressive to be under 40% owned. And with the deployment he has, getting to play with Pasternak or Geeky or both on any given night, and that power play is a top 5 power play in the league somehow. So yeah, so it's this is a no-brainer, like long-term pickup.
Yeah, like he might not have delivered last week, but that doesn't mean in the future he's not going to be a solid player to own. The only downside with him is that he's a pure C in a fantasy format that doesn't have an abundance of availabilities for pure Cs. I feel like everybody's already got 2 studs, and all these other guys just kind of like their roster percentage gets so low because of it. But Lindholm, playing with Pasternak has the best playoff schedule. In weeks 21 to 22, 23, he's got a 4-4-4. So that's an elite playoff schedule, exposure to elite level talent, and him himself can have great games too. I just think this is a no-brainer. This is a guy you pick up. If you're in a deeper format, like 14 teams, and he's still available, I mean, I doubt it. But if he's still available, like you pick him up and you hold him the whole season. And I think come playoff time, you'll be happy you did.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to
number 5.
At number 5, we have Jackson Blake of the Carolina Hurricanes, line 2, power play 1. There are 2 reasons this guy is on this list and so high on this list. The first reason is Carolina plays 5 times next week. That is an insane number of games in a week. That's the most amount of games that you can ever have in a week. And no other team plays 5 times. So number 1 reason is the schedule. Number 2 reason is Seth Jarvis is injured, and that leads to Jackson Blake being on power play 1. Look, Carolina does not have a good power play. I don't think Seth Jarvis being injured and Blake coming on is going to make it better. If anything, it'll definitely make it worse. But you have that deployment on a 5-game week. You have to at least take a look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Blake is one of those guys that, we looked at like Ehlers getting a big jump from the Jarvis injury. The biggest jump might be for Blake. Like maybe he's not going to have the 5v5 deployment, but as long as he's in the top 6, like he's viable. But that power play 1, the power play's been struggling in Carolina. Like it's not one of the best by far, which is one of the issues with Jarvis that we talked about. He just doesn't have many power play points on the season either. But I think Blake getting exposure there, and he's the type of player that takes a lot of shots too. I think he can be a very viable, not only streamer, but potential hold until Jarvis comes back.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to
number 4.
At number 4, we have someone I previously alluded to, which is Eeli Tolvanen of the Seattle Kraken. Line 1, power play 1 with his bud Chandler Stevenson. Only 3 games this week, 4 games the week after. Not only is he on fire points-wise, but he is also a banger beast. He shoots, he hits, he blocks. From a forward, that's really great to have. From a forward who gets points, that's even a bigger bonus. So that's why he's higher than Stevenson on the list, is because I trust his points more, and he has that banger's floor as well.
The banger's floor with Tolvanen is honestly really nice because he's been a player in the past that he has that power forward archetype where he can be a double-double on certain weeks, and you want exposure to the guys like that in bangers leagues because that's how you win your championships. Picking up guys that are like less than 10% owned that have a double-double and points upside and power play 1 exposure. This is a rare opportunity to get in on a guy that like has all of that going for him. And I'm not saying it's going to last forever, but while it's hot, he's very valuable.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into our big top recommendations for this week. Let's start with
number 3.
At number 3, we have Ryan Leonard of the Washington Capitals. Line 2, power play 1, 4-game week this week, 4-game week next week. So great schedule coming up these next 2 weeks. He came back from injury early, had 1 multi-point game, and he's got that banger's floor as well. He's shooting, he's hitting, and it seems like the sky's the limit with Leonard. We'll see if he can keep that power play 1 deployment when Wilson is back. I think that he will. I think it's going to be Ovechkin, Wilson, Strome, Leonard, and Chychrun as the 5, but it's not like completely secured. But I'm very curious to see what Leonard can do rest of the season, especially if he keeps that deployment.
This was a crazy situation because Leonard was like one of those guys that was like too high rostered early in the season because just for his name and potential. Like people were rostering him when he was not doing anything for fantasy. And then was like the first week of December and a few last weeks of November, he popped off. He was like averaging a point per game. He was shooting, he was hitting. Then he gets hurt. They tell us he's out for a month. He's back in 2 weeks. First game back, he gets a multi-point game, averaging 18 minutes a night, playing power play one. I think this could be, there's still a lot of risk with the situation because, the deployment is very volatile and you don't know what Washington's going to want to do. But if he keeps like the best deployment here, and Wilson is also not back yet, so when he's back, we'll have to see how everything shakes out. But this could be like a really solid pickup for rest of season. Um, even in your shallower leagues, like if he's basically 80% of Tom Wilson, you're gonna want that guy on your team. So I'm not saying that's what he's gonna be. I still think he has a lot of room to grow. But all the guys we're gonna mention in this top three have 4 games this week and 4 games the next week, so you know that you can pick them up for 2 weeks and be happy with it. And I think Ryan Leonard is like a sneaky. Like people are excited when it's like a rookie that has
Yeah.
potential. So I think he's fits everything there.
Yeah, exactly. When it's a rookie who has potential, you just don't know what they can do.
Mhm.
So it could be nothing, or it could be the next steal of the season. So that's why it's always exciting it's kind of like a lottery ticket, So
Exactly.
but he's getting the opportunity here. If he keeps that power play one deployment, I'm very interested. Okay, let's go to
Number 2.
At number 2, we have Mason Marchment of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Currently line 1, power play 2, but I could see him getting bumped up to power play 1 within the next game. So that's definitely really interesting. 4 games this week, 4 games next week, as Kevin mentioned. And obviously, we had talked about him in our news episode. We talked about how he just got traded to Columbus, and we were saying we're not running to pick him up or anything like that. Look, we weren't running to pick him up, but yeah, exactly. We're still not running, but look, he put up 3 goals in his first 2 games as a Columbus Blue Jacket, including 2 power play goals while on power play 2. Their power play is not anywhere near locked down. It's been pretty awful. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get a shot at power play 1. I just don't see what else a guy has. Like, you don't go trade for a guy. He comes in, puts up 2 power play goals. Your team's struggling on the power play, and then you don't put him on power play 1.
Yeah.
So I listed him as power play 2 right now because that's what he's listed as, and that's what he played his games as. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this comes out, he's on power play 1.
The only thing I want to say with Marchment is I'm very interested in Marchment. I arguably could have put him as number 1 on this list. He's number 2 for us right now. But he's the type of guy that I don't want to like hype him up and then shoot him down. But it's like, we've seen this with guys like Marchment before. It's like a change of situation or like a catalyst for change happens. And guys like this succeed like super quickly. They're like high on the momentum and everything. And then it kind of like dies down pretty quickly. And then they're just like, they stagnate at a level that is not super valuable, let's say. So I think Marchment has that in his range of outcomes. I would say that's the most likeliest outcome. But given the situation, given Columbus, given the lines, like he has a lot of opportunity here. So there's a world where he settles in as like line 1, power play 1, averaging 2.5 shots a night, maybe a hit or a hit and a half a night with, the PP1 and averaging like 0.25 power play points. Like that's not outside of the range of outcomes. And I want exposure to that. I want to take a chance on that for rest of the season, because that would be very valuable for fantasy. A guy that like hovers around the double-double. He's basically like going to be a more reliable Eli Tolvanen, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of similar where Tolvanen will hit a lot more, but we talked about that being streaky and inconsistent. Marchment, I feel like, has more reliability on his side. I think he's a better player too. I'm very excited about this. And I don't know if it's just because I own Jet Greaves, and a couple of the Columbus guys, but I think Columbus should be better than what they're doing. Like, if you look at all the metrics, like I was doing some research the other day, like Jet Greaves is a top 10 goalie in terms of like saves above expected. And they just always
usually that
collapse.
means that the goalie's good, but the team is bad.
But that's what I'm saying. Exactly. So I just feel like this is not a situation where they're choking third period leads like consistently, guys. It's like a huge problem. They're talking about firing the coach because it's happening so often. But the goaltending is not the issue. I feel like even Elvis has some good games in him. But when a team figures their stuff out, I think they can have a lot of success. And it's more of a defensive thing than an offensive thing, I think. Even though offense is way more volatile, but I think they're going to figure it out. And I think once they do, they can be like a wild card team. So I'm really interested on Columbus assets rest of season. A lot of them are buy lows right now, and I think Marchment might be, a catalyst for the team as a whole to have more positive success moving forward. So I'm very interested.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you throw in the 4 game week this week and next week, and it
Yep.
makes it such an easy pickup because it's like worst case scenario, you just streamed him for 2 weeks where he has a really good
Yep.
schedule,
I mean, they
and then you
have two
drop him.
solid centers with Fantilli and Monahan. Like, both of them are very capable. Both could be line one centers. They have an all-star winger with Marchenko, who's still a major buy low. So if you're listening to this,
Huge buy low.
we're doing buy low, sell high on the next episode. So if you're listening to this on Sunday morning, Monday morning, we got buy low, sell high. We're not going to mention Marchenko again because we just did an episode on him, but he's still a major buy low, and I really want to acquire him. I think a lot of Columbus assets right now are going to be at their floors, and we're going to see a bump up in production very soon.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love it. That's why he's number 2. I still think number 1 is a clear number 1 over him.
He's been too high.
That's it. It's just you can't like bank on the potential versus a guy who's been doing it. So let's dive into
number 1.
At number 1, we have Ryan O'Reilly of the Nashville Predators. He did us good last week, so we're running it back. Line 1, power play 1. 4-game week this week, 4-game week next week. Over a point per game for over a month. I know the pure C position is super deep, but there's no reason this guy should be under 40% rostered. It just does not make any sense. Look, do I believe that Nashville has suddenly solved all their issues and is going to be the best team ever, offensive, and have great, fantasy production? Absolutely not. But you ride the hot hand. He's been doing amazing, and like the way I see it is, worst case you stream him and he gets you a bunch of points over the next few weeks. Then he cools down and you drop him. Best case you stream him, gets you a bunch of points, then you sell him high, and then you're laughing. So either way, you got to pick this guy up if you can afford a pure C. This is a no-brainer.
Yeah, and even if Nashville becomes bad again, which we do think that happens, like they can't continue on this run, there does not mean that you don't stream for, production in week 13 and then deal with the situation afterwards. Whether he's still good, you keep him, you trade him, or you just cut him and move on. It's like a low risk move. And I really do think, like Josh said, like there's no reason why Ryan O'Reilly should be less than 40% owned still.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to our top 5 bangers of this week. Again, 40% owned. And let's dive in with
an extra banger for Jakey, but let's dive into number 5.
At number 5, we have someone who is very popular on this list. He's been doing so well in bangers that he's being mentioned even though he only has 3 games this week, and that is Emil Heineman of the New York Islanders. On the season, he's averaging over 2 shots, over 3 hits, almost 4 hits. And he's chipping in points here and there. Horvat is going to come back at some point. That should boost Heineman's points potential. But again, we're here for bangers, and those are guaranteed. So I love Heineman. I mean, if anyone's been listening to the pod, he should just be rostered already in your league by you a while ago. But if he's not, then you should grab him.
He's a Will Cooley light, it feels like. He's just, he's got the shots, he's got the high level of hits, and he's been doing it throughout the whole season, so we know it's reliable. And we've seen him go through stretches where he's averaging like a really high points threshold. I think as you're listening to this, Horvat is back. I think he's going to be in line rushes during the weekend. He was planning on returning Saturday the 27th. So listen, you're listening to this on the 28th. I think he's going to be back, and I think we're going to see better days ahead for Emil Heineman. Like, we're Habs fans, so we knew how good he could be, but I did not expect this level of, fantasy player for hockey now that he's on the Islanders. But the Islanders love their goons a little bit too. I feel like we attribute like that kind of power forward archetype to Nashville. It's like Smash City, like everybody's good at hits, but the Islanders have
Islanders
guys like that
them
too.
Old and rough. Old and tough.
And shaved with no beard, pretty much.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
But I love Heineman. So they're free of that. But Heineman's great. But let's go to the next one with
number 4.
At number 4, we've got Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets. 4-game week this week and next week. He, used to be a go-to bangers beast. He had injury issues. He had slowed down a bit, bumping around the lineup. But his backhats have been looking good again. He's got 2.3 shots in the season, 2.1 hits, 1.1 blocks. He's winning some face-offs from a winger position, and he's chipping in points as well. So I really like this is reminding me of the Boone of old and kind of why he was a staple own in bangers leagues.
I really want to have exposure to Boone Jenner now. Like these banger categories guys are insane, and the fact that he's like better than not at getting you points, I think as well. Like, it used to be that, he had way better deployment when Nashville didn't have all these young guys on the roster. So Columbus. Now he's not the Nashville, Columbus. We just talked about Nashville, but when Columbus had all these young guys not on the roster, so that's less of his job right now. It's more of like being a leader, being a captain in the locker room is different when he's on the ice. but I think right now he's cemented his role into like he's always good at shots, hits, blocks, face-offs, like, and he's just a better version of Sean Corelli back in the day when I used to love owning him on Columbus. Like he's line
like
4C that was getting me shots, hits, blocks, face-offs. And I almost beat Jakey in the playoffs one week, 1 year, 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago when I think Corelli had the game of his life. He had like 2 goals and a shorty and whatever, and I almost ended up overcoming all my injuries at that point. But alas, I will not reminisce too hard. Pick up Boone
I remember
Jenner.
that was a good year. That was another classic Josh win.
Yeah, we can move on. We can move on.
Okay, let's go to
number 3.
At number 3, we have Sean Walker of the Carolina Hurricanes. The main reason he is being mentioned is, again, because they have 5 games this week. So it's just even though if they're guys who are like slightly better bangers, the fact that he gets those 2 extra games over most players is just too much to not be interested in. He's averaging 2.2 shots, 1.6 hits, 1.5 blocks, almost 23 minutes time on ice per game. So it's really just the 5-game week and a bangers guy. Not much to say here other than that, just volume.
Guys, I mean, Sean Walker, I feel like he's gone through phases of viability in fantasy this season, but you're able to pick up a defenseman that has 5 games this week that averages over 2 shots a game, that is also good at bangs, like over a hit and a half of hits, over a hit and a half, over a block and a half of shot. What am I trying to say?
Over 1.5 hits and blocks.
Over 1.5 hits and blocks, and over 2 shots and 5 games. I think this is a no-brainer pickup if you're in a bangers categories league. I think it's no-brainer. Even if you're not in a categories league and you're in a bangers points league, I think he still has a lot of value this week.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure you can fit him in your roster every day. So do your due diligence that you're not picking up a defenseman for a week, a slate of games that you're already full of defensemen, you know?
Full on defenseman, yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go to
number 2.
At number 2, we've got another guy who's going to be a classic on here all season, Yakov Trenin of the Minnesota Wild. 4-game week this week, averaging 1.3 shots, 4.7 hits. He's just a pure hits guy, 4-game week. If you need the hits, take Trenin and you'll be happy.
I hate this guy, but yes, if you need the hits, pick him up and you'll be happy.
He put up like 9 hits a game against Kevin last week. So,
it was insane. He had like a 10-hit game, he had like an 8-hit game, and I was just like losing my mind. Because I'm one of the best hits teams in our league of record, so that category is like not even a thought for me because I have so many studs. But it was also the week that the Rangers had 2 games instead of like 3 or 4 or 5. So like all my guys like Cooley and Trocheck could not pull enough weight for Yakov Trenin, who had 4 games that dropped like 40 hits.
Yeah. All right, let's go to
number 1.
At number 1, we have my best friend from back in the day. I discovered this guy before he popped off for fantasy. I invented him, and that is Jeremy Lauzon of the Vegas Golden Knights. 4-game week this week, 4-game week next week, averaging 3.3 hits, 1.6 blocks, and over 2 PIMs if your league counts that. He's a bangers beast. I think he was forgotten a lot because he was out for most of this season.
Yep.
But with 2 4-game weeks coming up and the bangs that he's been doing, he's a no-brainer pickup and could last in your team all season.
Yeah, we had some people mention in Discord they were surprised they didn't see Lauzon on our previous week's episode, but he was like just coming back from injury, so we didn't want to recommend somebody. And then he's also had issues where like he's potentially been out of the lineup. It's like they're gonna scratch him, but then he's like banged up, so you don't know if it's like injury related or like actual performance related. But he's not the same guy. Like he's the same guy that he was on Nashville, except with less minutes. So that's why it's like it's a little scarier this year because you know that he could have a game with 13 minutes and that just means that he's on the bottom of the lineup and is always susceptible to being scratched. But I think he's a banger's beast. Guys, he broke the hit record 2 years ago or last year.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
It's honestly insane. And you're able to pick up this guy off waivers. He's going to get you almost 2 blocks, almost 4 hits. Whatever I was going to say before, the shots, blocks, hits, whatever I was saying, that. But no shots.
He's great. Okay, let's go to our top 3 quantity goalies of the week. These are guys who are going to get you at least 2 starts, under 40% owned. This week was a lot easier than the past week because every team actually plays as opposed to only having 2 or 1 games. So we got some good recommendations here. So let's start with
number 3.
At number 3, we've got a guy who, again, always pops up on this list, Jake Allen of the New Jersey Devils. They have 2 back-to-backs this week, which means he's guaranteed 2 starts. One of the back-to-backs is Toronto-Columbus, and the other is Utah-Carolina. If he gets the Utah of that one, and then either of Toronto or Columbus, I'm very happy with both those matchups. And New Jersey should be on the up and up with a lot of their injured guys coming back. They had the break to, maybe like get, more healthy. They're going to get some practices in as a whole healthy team. So it could only get better for New Jersey, essentially. And this is going to be quantity, but could also be quality.
I think New Jersey as a whole is on the up and up right now. Jack Hughes just came back. Timo just came back. I think the team is still, getting some stuff under their feet, whatever that expression is.
And, yeah, exactly. Getting some stuff under their feet.
Add that to the list of banger management vocabulary. But alas is my word of the episode.
Yeah, I know.
If you haven't realized already. But
I like it.
Jake Allen, I think 2 back-to-backs. You're getting 2 starts. He also is sometimes better than Marchment, I think.
Yeah.
So he has it in the range of outcomes that he can pull away with this if the team is winning with him and not with Marchment. So that's always nice thing to have in like your back pocket when you're picking up a goalie. And I think both of these back-to-backs are nice. Like Carolina does not intimidate me the way that they used to intimidate me before.
No, especially with Jarvis out.
Yep.
Okay, right. Let's go to
number 2.
At number 2, here's an interesting one. We've got Connor Ingram of the Edmonton Oilers. They play Winnipeg, Boston, Philly next week. And it seems like he might be taking the starting job in Edmonton because, when you trade Stu Skinner for a guy who immediately goes to your IR, it leaves an open spot. And then Calvin Pickard just has shown that he's not the guy. Connor Ingram comes in, has 2 solid games, back-to-back starts, which is why I'm leaning towards him being the starter. And, we'll see how he does. We're recording on Saturday, so we'll see how he does tonight. If he has another good game, then I think I'm confident to say he'll get 2 of these 3 starts. If he gets lit up, since they're playing Calgary, that's probably a bad look. So I could see Pickard getting the next one. But right now, everything's pointing towards Ingram being the starter for Edmonton until Jerry comes back.
Yeah. And listen, Pickard, we know, is not that guy. He's just not that guy.
Not that guy, pal.
Ingram was one of the worst goalies in the AHL this season, which is crazy because now he gets brought up to the big leagues and is actually succeeding in small sample size, but it's always a different game. Josh mentions that all the time. Like the performance you have in the AHL, you definitely want your goalie to play well, but the fact that they're playing not good is not necessarily like the end of the world. Let's say
completely I find with like players, if you can't do well in the AHL, I think it would be shocking if you do well in the NHL. But with goalies, I just think it's just so different because you're all like, it's also relevant on the team in front of you, right? You're playing against AHL players, but you're also playing with AHL players. So it's I don't think it's as black and white. So I'm not super surprised he's doing this well. I didn't expect him to do this well either, but
it's 2 games. We want
that's it. Like it's kind of just like if he gets it, he's the starter on Edmonton, which is a very nice place to be when Connor McDavid is playing in God mode.
Connor McDavid averaging like 2.5 points per game over the last month.
Yeah.
It's
a good time to be a McDavid owner.
Yeah.
And a Draisaitl owner.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy to have both those guys on the one team in fantasy?
That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy. If only we had somebody that a roster like that. Yeah. Josh does his evil laugh after acquiring every first round pick. I will say that what was funny was we just saw David Tomasek get wasn't not even waived. It was
contract terminated.
Terminated. And you know what the difference between having his contract terminated and contract waived was? That I think I said
0.05 mil. Yeah.
They saved 1.2 mil by terminating his contract on the cap. If they would have just waived him, they would have saved 1.15. So that means they really needed that extra 0.05.
All right, Kevin, why do they really need that extra cap room?
Well, because they have a contract on their roster right now for a goalie that's twice as expensive as the goalie they needed, who's also not on the ice. Just another banger, like, I don't know, just...
Okay, let's move on before we get into this debate again.
Why did you trade a second round pick for him to take on a contract that was twice as expensive as Stuart Skinner for Stuart Skinner, but injury prone? Anyways.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to
number 1.
At number 1, we have Alex Lyon of the Buffalo Sabres. They play St. Louis, Dallas, Columbus, 2 easy and 1 hard team. But Lyon seems to be running away with a starting job. Buffalo's on a crazy win streak. And look, we said earlier in the episode that the wheels could fall off at some point. But when they do these win streaks, you want their guys. You want their goalies. You want their scorers. And Lyon was really good at the start of the season.
Yep.
Then kind of like had Colton Ellis and UPL kind of fighting him for the job. And so playing less, he had a couple bad games, but now he's back to being amazing. So it's not like this came out of completely nowhere. Good schedule. He's going to get the quantity. So I really like Lyon as a pickup.
Yeah. And I feel like he might be trade bait. Like Lyon or UPL is getting traded. One of them.
You don't think Colton Ellis is the odd man out?
No, I
just don't think he's trade value.
Because no, he doesn't have trade value. But I also saw like a report. Maybe this is the old GM. I actually forget who said this, but they were just basically like Colton Ellis is like, we want to get him more playing time, pretty much.
Okay.
So like, I'm like, okay, like that means one of the
Yeah.
other guys got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because they're not going
I
to
mean,
run
it's
3 goalies.
definitely, you know that, I mean, the new GM pretty much said, like, first order of business, I need to get rid of this 3 goalie situation.
Yeah.
So, you know someone's going. It's just tough, like, with how well Alex Line is playing and the team's actually winning and
Yeah.
they have a chance at playoffs, I just don't see him being the one getting traded. I think it's more likely that it's UPL
Yeah.
or Colton Ellis. But it's interesting. It's a little possible upside. You know, if he gets traded to some contender or something like that, then that could be nice.
Even if
He gets
UPL
traded to
gets traded,
Edmonton.
even if
Yeah.
UPL gets traded, I feel like it's good for him because that means less competition for starts, and like that means even
Absolutely.
if his play falters, he won't get like replaced so easily.
Absolutely.
Always in the back of my mind when
Okay.
I'm picking up goalies.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like, I like the stream, but is there a potential that something
Yeah.
happens in this while I'm randomly holding him? That makes me,
I mean-
like Kevin randomly had Stuart Skinner and then he got
Yeah.
traded to Pittsburgh. Look, in that case, it was a downgrade.
Yeah, it was awful for me,
But like that stuff happens. You know, you stream a guy and then you get lucky with the timing, and
especially
and his
with
value goes up.
with fantasy teams that tend to go 0G. Like I think all of us, we always go 0 goalie pretty much, except Josh this year. But
Never again.
I mean, it's just one of those things that like when you go 0G, so your goalie room is already not the best. You have so much quality in front of you in your forwards and your defensemen that when I'm making goalie streams, not only for the week, I'm always trying to pick up guys that have long-term upside, because if the situation turns in your favor, it's like so much extra value. So
Absolutely.
especially on these streamer shows, I really like to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to our top 3 quality goalies. These are guys who are going to have one good matchup this week. Again, under 40% owned. Let's start with
number 3.
At number 3, we have Sam Ersson of the Philadelphia Flyers. He's playing against either Vancouver or Calgary on that back-to-back. Last week, we recommended Ersson because he had an easy back-to-back, and a lot of people were doubting. They're like, Ersson's numbers have been awful. He sucks. Why should we pick him up? I would never pick this guy up. And I was like, I hear you. I don't think he's good, but Philly has been solid defensively, and these matchups are super easy. And what happens? He plays against Chicago and has an amazing game.
Mhm.
So look, bad goalies are bad, but sometimes if it's good team playing bad team, that's enough to overcome a bad goalie.
Yep.
So look, I'm not saying he's going to have another amazing game, but Vancouver and Calgary are 2 of the least scary opponents. And like I said, Philly's been rolling, so I like him as a pickup.
And also, you have to keep in mind that like there's just so much volatility when it comes to goalie already that you're never going to be able to predict perfect, goalie stats or perfect wins, even in matchups that seem so lopsided going into it. Like I remember we recommended Jonathan Quick recently, and I feel like he had 2 easy matchups, and the Rangers got shut out in one of them, and they lost. They lost both games that he played, and that's very surprising for Jonathan Quick. Like Vancouver of all teams shut them out, so
yeah,
it's just sometimes you can't
anything
predict
can happen,
and
but
you
you
just gotta
got to do
follow
what
the
you
process.
can. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go to
Number 2.
And number 2, we have Jonas Johansson. I looked it up. That's how you pronounce it, Kevin. I know you didn't realize that, but
if only
that's
somebody
actually the way
was
to pronounce
touting
his name.
Jonas Johansson for like
Yeah.
17 years.
Yeah, exactly. So don't worry, I got to the bottom of it for you. Yeah, Jonas Johansson of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're playing Anaheim and LA, and I know these don't seem like your classic easy matchups, but Anaheim, even though they're doing well in the standings, I'm not particularly scared of them playing a goalie against them. And LA actually cannot score a goal to save their lives. They, I think, over the past month, 2 months, I think you count on one hand the amount of games where they've scored more than 2 goals. So, so it's really, really bad offensively in LA. The only reason that team is afloat is because of Darcy Kemper. So I really, and Tampa's rolling also. So I like Johansson here.
Yep, everything you just said, I ditto.
Nice. Then let's
Is
go
that how you say that?
to
Ditto.
I ditto. Yeah,
Is
I
it
like
I
it.
ditto or just ditto?
I think it's just ditto.
I reiterate. All right.
Yes. There we go.
Number 1.
At number 1, we have honestly one of my favorites to recommend as a quality goalie start. He appears here anytime this team has a back-to-back, and that is Casey DeSmith of the Dallas Stars. They're playing Boston and Chicago this week. Look, Boston's not the easiest matchup. Chicago is the easiest matchup, but I'm not particularly scared of either. And it's Dallas. DeSmith's a solid goalie. It's Dallas. I think that's all I gotta say.
It's Dallas, baby. That makes me think of that
Yeah.
Office episode where they're playing.
That's Dallas.
It's Dallas. That was a good episode. And then
That was a good
Creed
episode.
comes in. Is that the episode? No, that was the.
It's the episode where they're doing like the garage sale type thing in the office, like warehouse, and Dwight's doing his like trading a paperclip all the way
No,
up
that's
to
not the
something.
same episode,
and-
is it? Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
and
It
then
is. They're
like
playing the
one of the
board game
things,
Dallas, and they're
the board
inventing
game,
rules.
exactly, yeah.
What was that episode where they talk about they do like a role playing for Cowboys? I
Oh
think they're
yeah,
scared everybody's gonna
there's
get
been a
fired.
murder in Savannah.
Yeah, there's been a murder in
Yeah.
Savannah. Creed
And
comes
you're a
in.
suspect. Yeah. And Creed's like, okay, I'll be right back. And then you see him like rush out.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope we have a lot of Office fans in the community. That would make me happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty popular show, so I feel like we have a good shot.
True. But yeah, that wraps up our Week 13 waiver wire targets and streamers episode. We got 10 points, guys, 5 bangers, guys, 3 guys for multiple goalie starts, 3 guys for quality goalie starts. One of them
Anything you
being
could ask for.
Dallas. But if you made it this far, we really appreciate it, guys. The community is growing. We're really happy to be able to provide so much help and value for everybody. And listen, if you like what you hear, rate us 5 stars on any podcast platform you're listening to this. Follow us also, like Spotify, Apple. It really means a lot. On YouTube, drop us a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed and you're watching the videos. That would be amazing. And last but not least, join the Discord. The Discord's popping. We're in there literally all day, every day. It's my favorite place to be. I wish I could just leave all my responsibilities and just talk to people about fantasy hockey all day, because that's my passion. And yeah, if you want to partake in that, join the Discord. All the links are in the bio description of wherever you're looking or watching this. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode, which is going to be our Week 13 Buy Low, Sell High, which is always our favorite episode to record.
What he said.
What he said.
I ditto.
Now you can take it away, Erne.
Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management, Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo!
Soon to return, woo!
Jakey, woo! Do not forget him. His name is Jacob.
If you see him on the milk carton, that's him.